Hello everyone, and welcome to this simple tutorial about how you are going to compile your own TensorFlow edition, because the problem is that when you download TensorFlow you download how to say that, like a generic one, so you need to customize your own TensorFlow. And the second problem is that once you are on Windows you will have a problem about this. And the third one is about the connection itself, because when you download the tools it takes a lot of time, especially with the connection such the one I'm using here. I'm in Algeria and right now I'm using 2 megabit and it's a good connection, but not a best one to download big packages like the SDK and Cuda and so on. I hope it's called Cuda. So anyway, let's start. The trick is easy. I'm going to use the Google Cloud Platform. Using the Google Cloud Platform, there is a trick behind it. It's because they give you a free Linux. It's a Debian version. A Debian, for people who don't know what is Debian and hear about Ubuntu. Ubuntu is built upon on top of Debian. So you have the two big distribution about Linux. It's Debian and Red Hat, and of course there is the third one. It's about Arch, and there are other distribution, but those two are the most known ones. I hope Arch Linux users will not blame for me or dislike the post. So anyway, using the Google Cloud Platform, you are going to use the connection that those servers use. That means that you are not going to use Algeria's connection or African connection. You are going to use like US connection, the fastest connection you can have, because since Google hosts their servers, they must use the best connection that exists. So, and then once you are done, you are going to use packages like 2 giga or 3 giga or whatever, and then the result, you are going to download like 60 megabytes. It's the size of TensorFlow, I guess. So let's start. The problem why I did this, it's because I have a laptop, and then in this laptop I have the Nvidia graphic card. But the problem about this is that my Nvidia in TensorFlow, they asked for what is called compute capability, this one. And if you check about the compute capability, the least version you need to have is this one. You must have this version. If you have a version like this, TensorFlow will not work. And since you are going to customize the compilation, you will be able to control exactly which version you are going to use. And sadly, my laptop is not compatible. So the good thing is that I learned something new. It's about how to use the cloud, Google Cloud. The bad news is that my laptop is useless. So the advice I give you is that when you are going to use Nvidia graphic card, there are two ways you are going to use them: for gaming or for calculation. And of course, if you are here now and watching this video, I advise you to come here and check why I say this. It's developer.nvidia.com and Cuda GPUs. Why I'm saying this? Because it doesn't mean that your graphic card is recent. That means that it has a good compute capability version. Check this, for example. We have 6.6.5.5, and then look, we have 3.5, and then we have 5.5, and so on. So you have to be careful. For example, if I go to buy a laptop with this one, or a desktop graphic card, separate this graphic card, GTX Theta, that means that I'm only going to use 3.5. So in future, maybe they will use the 5th version. I don't know. I never used Cuda. I never programmed on a parallel GPU. I never used those such acceleration. So I hope the people from the that are programming using the Nvidia Cuda will explain this more. But my advice is come here, check about this, and then choose the right laptop you are going to buy, or the right desktop, the right graphic card for the desktop. Because as I said, it's not recent that means powerful. 6, 5, 3. Check this. 3 and then you have 5, 5, 5. So the minimum right now at this date, it's the 3.0. But the source that you go that you download from GitHub, it's 3.5. So we are going to see how we are going to configure this one. So let's start. Once I'm in Google Cloud Platform, you need to know how to configure Google Cloud Platform. It's easy. You just go to Google and Google how to do this, and it's free. And you don't even need credit card. So you just click here. Once you click here, you will get a console, the shell, exactly what you get on your Linux box. So if I zoom using Control plus, it's exactly what the same reflexes, not all of them, but most of them work here. So as you can see, the first difference is that when you copy something, you just need to select it. And once you select it, as you can see, there is a scissor icon. The second one is if you want to paste it, you don't have the right click. What you have is exactly Control V, because on the shell I use Ubuntu, I need to do Control Shift V. But here, since you are on the browser, you just need to do Control V. You are working on a browser, so don't worry about it. The second one, every time you use sudo is to use, as you know, is to use the super user, the administrator privileges. So here, since this virtual machine is not forever, what that means, that if you do some configuration, if you download some files and then you leave the session and you come back, you will find everything gone, because it's temporary. So that means that if you do sudo, you don't need to have a password. It's just, you just write sudo and it will execute. But if you write something without the sudo, it will not work. So if you do administrative tasks like installing, copying files to bin and sbin and so on, you need to do sudo, and it will not ask for a password. So as you can see, right now I'm using the half of the screen. What I need to do is just click here. It will open a new window, and on this new window I will have my complete shell. So what I do, I just wait and then do Control plus, and I'm done. So what I do is just, if I do df, and I do df minus h, so I will have those values not in octet but in like human readable. So you can see that you will get free 25 gigabyte, and those 60 are used by installation of Debian and installation of Python and all the tools that you need to use TensorFlow. You don't need to install anything special about TensorFlow except some tools that I'm going to cover right now. So if I do Control L, I'm going to clean the shell. Those shortcuts are exactly the ones that you know about the Linux. So let's go to TensorFlow. So to do this, I'm going to use GitHub and TensorFlow. Where is my TensorFlow? Here is it. So what you're gonna do, First one, you need to clone it. To clone, using the Git. Of course, if you are here, that means that you know how to use the Git. The Git is pre-installed, so you just need to use Git Clone and then Ctrl V. Yeah, it seems that it didn't remove my old TensorFlow, so I need to do rm -r TensorFlow. Yes, so as you can see those, so just do sudo and everything is gone. So if I do ls, yeah, I need to delete everything. So if I do sudo rm -r and then everything, so now I have a clean installation. It seems that I didn't leave the console, so that's why I always have my old session. So now let's repeat the operation using the up arrow, and then you will see the speed I'm going to use. As you can see, check this, especially for Algerian devs. This is our dream to have such a connection, and it's really beautiful to use those kind of connection. So that's the trick. Use the connection they use at Google and then download the result. Now everything is done. Let's go to TensorFlow and then ls-l. As you can see, you need those two files. For the first one, if you have the habit to compile by yourself, for example Nginx, you have this when you do something like that, -configure, because it will configure your installation. So now I need to check what the configure contains using the nano editor. As you can see, it will check for the configure.py. So I need this file. So I do the same thing, except since I'm in the same directory, I come here, and as you can see, the default Cuda capabilities is 3.5. We need this one, 3.0. Don't worry about this, you will get prompted just when you want to install it. The OpenCL is 1.2. OpenCL is for people who don't use Cuda, Nvidia graphic card, but the Radeon. I don't know how to spell it. So I will save and I'm done. Now the second step is going back here and then download the Nvidia Cuda. Where am I? Here. Okay, now I come to developer nvidia.com Cuda downloads. This is like the SDK. So since I'm on Linux 64 architecture, and then I don't have Debian here, I only have Ubuntu, so I need to get the latest one. Don't download this. I tried this, it didn't work. I don't know why, but for you, better to use this one. I found on other forums that it's the inverse, but everyone is like. So if I click here, as you can see, I have 1 giga. So what I need to do is just copy and then come here and download it. How? Since I'm in the console, I don't have a visual browser, so I need to use wget. Well, every time you see wget, that means you are going to use a non-visual browser. This is exactly what Chrome do. This is exactly any browser do, but except this one is on the console. So I do this one and then check connection, check with the speed. This speed is really wonderful. I wish one day we will have this connection. So this package, I it took me like 5 hours or 4 hours to download it, and right now, as you can see, it's less than 30 seconds. So now that it will finish, we need to install the run file. The run file is just a script shell. So what you need is to do sudo, because we are going to alter the system files, and then do sh and then Cuda. I need to copy this because it doesn't have an extension, so it doesn't know but that it's a sh file, and then validate, and then you leave it. Now when you run this, you need something that Linux don't have when you run the first time your shell. It's called the Linux headers. Linux headers, you just come to this, you just go and search for what is the Linux headers, how to install Linux headers. You just do sudo apt-get install Linux headers, and this one, I will explain it. If you already have installed Kali Linux, that means that you know what is this. You see it a lot in Kali Linux. And as you can see, what I just did is just switch it to a new tab. See exactly what you do on Linux, and this is the magic. So what I do is zoom, and then what does it mean? apt-get install, that means that bring me the headers. Now what is this? This one is just a variable. So if I bring the cursor here and then remove it, and I do echo, what happens on Linux is that everything you make on dollar and then parentheses, this one will be executed and not a variable. But if you replace, for example, this, and then you remove the parentheses, it will consider it as a variable. Or what you replace is with the braces. So where are my braces? And then like this, Linux will consider this as a variable. So if I remove the .r, this is exactly as this syntax. So what happens when you do sudo apt-get install this is, it's like you wrote Linux headers 3.16.0 and so on. This is to make it generic for all versions. Even if it changes, this one is a variable, so you don't have to worry about the, if you find, for example, the answer on the forums and then it's bound to a certain version, that means that it will not work for you. But when it's variable, it will always work. Now I just hit, and then it will download all what I need. So it seems that I already, so here is the rule. Every time you find a capital letter, that means that you are going to use the default option. If you don't hit Y, that means that you are going to use the Y because it's in capital letter. So it will download what I need, and it will install everything since the connection is the best I can get, and then I'm done. And then I'm going back here. This is the prompt you get when you try to install Cuda. And every time you find this one, this scroll, you don't have a scroll because it's not visual. You just need to hit Q. And once you hit Q, it asks you if you accept or decline or quit. Of course, I'm going to accept. Here, there is no letter substitution. And then it starts to ask you whether you want to install something and something. So here I want to install it. We use Y. I will not install the graphical, but you need to install it. I just do this to gain much time. Install Cuda, yes, of course, this is why I'm here. And then enter location, leave it as it is. because in the default installation of TensorFlow, that's what you are going to use, and it's not going to use this path. It's going to use the symbolic path, which is user local Cuda. The difference is that this is just a shortcut to this one, but this one has a specific version. So yes, I need to do the symbolic link. Install a code? No, I don't need the samples. And then it will start to install. So you just leave it installing. So I'm going to pause and then come back once it will be ready. Okay, now it's been installed. So what I need where it is, this one. I need this CUDNN. The Cuda is not enough, so you need the CUDNN, and this one you need to be logged in Nvidia developer. So you need to open a new account there, so we'll give you the download link. So what I'm going to download is this one, the 6.1, because this is one which is the default, so I'm not going to alter it. So what you need to download it first. Why? Because if I copy this one, check this link, if I do copy and then I come here and then I clean the console, I hate working on a full console, and then I would do wget, and then I would get an error 43 forbidden. Why? It's just about the token. So the token will be generated each time you are going to connect. So I'm going to close this, and then I come here and then I run it first, so it will be bound to my account, and then I download, and once it starts downloading, check the difference between the connection I use at Google and then connection I'm using here. And then once I'm done, I would just copy this and stop downloading this one, because I just need the link, I don't need the file. And then I repeat the operation, and then I'm done. This is the link, and since this file is really weird, what I need to rename it. So you just copy the name, this one, and then you do the mv command, and then cudnn space the second argument. So just just a trick. The mv is an ambiguous, or I don't know how to spell it, operation command. That means that it moves files and or it renames. So when the second argument is a folder, it will move this file to the folder. If the second argument is a file, it will rename it. That means that go find the second argument. If it exists, move it there. If it doesn't exist, rename it. So that's why every time you want to move to a folder, you have to have the reflex of having the slash at the end. This is in case you make a typo, so your file will not be renamed. So if I do this, and then if I do ls -l, everything is fine. What I need now is to remove this file, because I'm out of space. That means that I don't need any more this file. So I do rm Cuda. I hope I'm spelling right, Cuda. And then if I do ls, I don't have it anymore. So I'm going to clean the shell, and then I'm going to show you a gist. This gist is wonderful. I hope it will not be deleted soon. So in this gist, you just run it, and then it will download everything you need. It will go to Nvidia and then download all the stuff you need and do all the stuff. So you just check this video and check the link, you just zoom on it, you are on HD, you just zoom and copy paste. So I need those operations that are until here. So what I need to extract the file. I come back here and then cudnn, I extract it. Once I extract it, it will extract to folder named Cuda. So wait, and then I have this new folder, and since that's the same one, I just copy the 3 operation and then come here and then start copy and paste. It will do all the stuff you need. You just wait and then you make the magic and validate here, and I'm done. Now everything I need is installed. So what you do is come to TensorFlow website and then check how you are going to configure it. So what I need now, I go to here, I don't need this, I don't need this. So what I need to go to TensorFlow. Now here I just hit configure. Now what is this? Why I don't do this? Because on Linux it's not like Windows. On Linux, if you write this one, because on Linux everything is a file, when you write this, it will check on your variable environment variable or something like this. That means that it will check first for something like this. It thinks that it's a command. So to avoid this mistake, you will do this one to tell him it's a file. And this one, that means check on this folder. Since I'm in this folder, so I'm going to hit it. And then it will ask me about what I'm going to do. And you will choose the right options that suits you. The first, I'm going to use the default Python. Yes, I'm not going to change those one. I'm not going to change this one. As you can see, check this one. With this, you can use the Google Cloud platform. You will have a special TensorFlow that will use the GPU. I never used it, but it seems that the GPU is, it's the reality. GPU is the future. This is tensor process unit, so it's made for TensorFlow. So I'm not going to compile. I just needed to compile it for myself for this laptop. I'm not going to use Hadoop. This is for big data or something like this. No, I don't know what is this. GDR, I don't know. I should Google all those words to know what I'm doing. This one is to make it compatible with your not Cuda devices like Radeon or Radeon, or I don't know how to spell it in English. So no, I have Nvidia. And now here is the one. Yes, because if I hit enter, by default this is no. So now I'm telling him, okay, compile me this version to be compatible with Cuda. The default one is 8, and then this is the symbolic link you saw earlier. Yes, and then I already installed this one, so yes, and then yes, I'm going to use everything by default. And here is the step you need. Why? If I try to tell him, hey, I have my graphic card, can you please do it? No, it will tell you only compute capability 3.0 or higher supported. So this is, sadly, I'm not going to use my laptop, but you just need to know how to do it in case you have a good graphic card. So I'm going to tell him, okay, use the least one. And then, do you want to use, or don't know? No, I don't know even what I'm doing. And this is GCC, so it will compile on C. No, I don't know MP. I'm sorry about those kind of words. I never used them, so don't expect me to explain them. So once I'm done, now I reconfigured my installation so it will be compatible with 3.0. and then what I need to use this tool. As you can see, now we passed this step. Now what you need, we need Bazel. I was going to check if I can download it, and then I found that why do I download it if it already exists. So you don't need to download it when you work with Cloud Shell. It's already there. So this is Bazel, and then I stop it. I clean the console and then copy and paste directly what is written here. This one. And since I'm going to compile the GPU, I'm going to compile this one, and then now let's wait. I think I'm going to pause and then come back. I just came back so you can see if you already compiled the Android projects, then you have those files that comes and download and so on. So you just need to wait and let it work. See you soon. I'm going to pause it and come back. Well, I made a small mistake. Maybe it's a big mistake. I forgot that I'm on a free Linux, on a free, how to say that? I'm using the free instance. What does this mean? Is that I only have, like, as you can see, not even 1 giga of memory. And then on the documentation, as you can see, it said that when you compile the TensorFlow, it consumes a lot of RAM. So you need to add this with like 50 megabyte or something, but because you are really limited. So what I will do, I will stop the process and then show you what you are going to use just after. As you can see, I have still more operations to do, and it will take time. So once you finish, you just need to run this operation, because it will generate a script, and then you will get your TensorFlow package. And the TensorFlow package is, it's will WHL. So a will is like, for old people from Python, they know this from the egg, and then they have the problem about compiling. So there was a version for Linux, and then if you have a Linux, it's easy to compile it. But if you go to Windows, then that means that you need to go to install Visual Studio. So the WHL, it's a pre-compiled version of your Python package. So you just need to install it and then you go. You don't need to recompile it. So once you have this file, you have a lot of ways to get it back. You can install it using a pipe, and then here you give him the IP address. And since on Google, on the Cloud Shell, you don't have the IP address. So what you need to upload it, you need to access. You have two ways. The first one is access to it using SSH. You just go and make how to connect to an instance, and since my locals are in French, that it gave me the page on French. So you just go to the docs, and then you will see how to connect to this instance, so you can check, you can access it using SSH. For example, from Linux, directly from SSH. From Windows, you have the PuTTY tool. The PuTTY is just a small tool, a free small tool that you can use. This one, like this. This is PuTTY. So the second one is using your Google Drive from the console. What you need is just check how to use Google Drive from the console. This package is the one I advise you to use. As you can see, there are a lot of stars. Let's start it too, and then you can upload, download, and so on. So what you need is to upload to a folder, and then what you do is go to your Drive folder and download your TensorFlow package, and then install it on your PC or on your Mac or whatever. And this is the way how you are going to configure by yourself your TensorFlow without using Linux without using a lot of resources. What you need is just Google Chrome and a free account on Cloud Shell, and you are done. As you can see, it still have operation to do, so I need to stop it. Sorry, it seems that there is a third option which is really easier. So what you need is just get the full path. So for example, if my file was this one, what you need is just come here and then do download the file. Once you are here, you just go and type the full path, and then you do download. I hope this is the same one, so yeah, that's fine. So as you can see, yep, and then you will get your file. So I hope this was useful, and see you next time.